the NBA in three-point percentage last season at 47% from long range. That's part of the reasons he represented the country in FIBA World Cup. Didn't turn out so well for them, but the Nets hoping for better results with Joe Harris out there shooting threes. Bringing Kyrie Irving, we know he's an outside shooter as well. Sam, when you see this lineup, all these guys across the board, how much of an advantage is that for their ability to shoot from outside?
Well, the starters speak for themselves, but when you start looking at the bench, you look at Taurean Prince. I've always been a fan of his. A guy that played in Atlanta. He's athletic. He's gotten better each and every year. And then you look at Jared Allen. I don't know if DeAndre Jordan's necessarily going to be the starting center because Allen had a great year, and I think as a coach, the thing you have to be careful of when you bring in new players, you got to give your old players a chance to fight for their position, especially when you've had success. And when I look at DeAndre Jordan, I like him, but he is not Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving. Yeah. He doesn't get to walk in the door and immediately be crowned the starter. So when I look at this team, and if I think they're going to do what I think they're going to do, they're going to let these guys compete for positions and playing times and starting lineups. And I think when you look at that depth based on how they play and what they did last year and who they've added, obviously this year is going to be an upgrade. But next year, when the big man come back, they're going to be in that conversation for winning the championship.
Sam, you brought up a good idea when you look at their roster and their depth, DeAndre Jordan, Jared Allen, in the sense that one thing Jared Allen does extremely well as compared to other bigs in the league is you can trust him in guard and pick and roll. That's not necessarily DeAndre Jordan's strong suit. When you see those two players, how do you have a roster with both of them coexisting? It seems like it's not the best idea.
Well, I like both of them from a defensive standpoint. And when either one of them is out on the floor, you still have a great defensive presence. And, Jordan, is one of the best screeners in the league. Okay. And he's also a rim protector. So what you're getting with DeAndre Jordan is a player that knows what he's capable of doing and only does what he's capable of doing. DeAndre Jordan is not getting ready to start shooting threes. But whenever he's in the paint, and Sam, you like to refer to this, you got a man in the paint. Defensively, you got somebody in the paint that the other NBA players respect. Guys aren't going to come in there challenging DeAndre Jordan. And if they make a play, you ain't going to see too many guys getting up, dancing and all that. You don't see that around him. No. So when you're talking about, one of the tough guys, one of the intimidators, one of the most respected guys in the NBA, it's DeAndre Jordan. Now, when you put him with Allen, from a defensive standpoint and their back line, they should be covered.
Exactly.
When I look at Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert, both signed last season and this summer to 3-year deals, that adds depth to this team. And then when you put Kyrie Irving on this roster, how important was that for Brooklyn going forward, looking what they were able to accomplish last year to bring those two guys back and not lose them?
Well, as good as those guys played for them, what Sean Marks realized is that you got to upgrade your talent, man. If you're going to compete for a championship, look, mediocre teams can make the playoff if they just play hard for 82 games.
Yeah.
We know that. But if you're going to compete for a championship, get to these conference finals and go further, you got to have talent. So anytime you bring in Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Jordan, and those guys, and now you take some of those starters who help you become a playoff team, and they slide to the bench. But let me tell you what they did, though. They just didn't slide them to the bench. They did what first? They paid them. Okay? So that's how you tell players in professional sports how much you value them. You take care of them financially first, and then it's easy to come back and say, look, we're adding Kyrie, we're adding this guy, we're adding that guy. We may need you to accept a different role coming off the bench, but you're just as important, but to strengthen our team, but we're going to pay you, but can you accept this role? And for this Brooklyn team, and those guys know, they've been around in the NBA now, they know if they really going to win a championship, they had to upgrade their talent. But give Brooklyn credit. They took care of the players who've been there, who've accomplished something. They just didn't say, well, what y'all accomplished didn't mean that because we didn't win a championship. No, those guys are part of the building blocks, and they took care of them.
Obviously, with Kevin Durant on the court, they are title contenders. Without him this season, what are they?
They'll be Eastern Conference Finals contenders. But when you don't have what Philly and Milwaukee has is they have that that extra thing. They have that Embiid, and if a Simmons shows up, nobody can really match up with Embiid, so they have the extra. Milwaukee has, the Greek freak. They got Giannis. Nobody can really match up with that physical kind of talent. When you look at Brooklyn, they don't have that. They have the stamina. Now, when Kevin Durant walks on the floor, right, nobody matches up with that. And LeBron James had the most interesting comment to me when Golden State beat Cleveland, a couple of years back, and they asked LeBron James, well, what was the difference between this Golden State team and last year? And he simply said, Kevin Durant. and from a player's perspective, Kevin Durant is the biggest mismatch in the NBA. He's unguardable.
Think about this. As a coach, you sitting there doing timeout to draw up a play. Your only thought when you're coaching a guy like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and those guys is just get him the ball.
Somewhere.
Hey, man, look. Just get him the ball and get out the way and let him make a play, because he's either going to break his guy down and get to his favorite spot and pull up and shoot over you, go all the way to the hole, or make a play for a teammate. So that's the thing people don't understand. When you have great players like Durant and LeBron and Kyrie and all that, it makes the coaching easier at the end of games, because now all you have to do is figure out how to get those guys the ball, and those guys are smart enough and been around the league enough. They've seen every defense and how you're going to play.
No, Sam.
It's hard.
As a coach, all you got to figure out is, how do I get it in bounds?
That's it. Give me somebody who can make an inbound pass.
If I can get it in bounds and I can get it
we
to
got
him,
a chance.
we all right.
The way that you guys just described that, though, I mean, unless I'm mistaken, offensively, Kyrie Irving is one of those guys, is he not?
He's one of those guys.
Not physically imposing.
But he don't have the other guy with him.
Yeah, no,
that's the difference.
So here's what I'm getting ready to say. He's one of those guys, but he's not one of them guys.
Yeah.
He's not a Durant. He's not a LeBron.
Yeah.
But Kyrie is one of them guys, but he ain't one of them guys.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Understand.
You know when Durant gets off the bus, off the plane, you know what to say? That's him.
Yes.
That's all. That's him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Kevin Durant won't play this season, but when he returns, the Brooklyn Nets got, that's him, one of those guys.
Go.
Early last season, Karis LeVert, before injuring his ankle, averaged 18 points per game in the first 14 of the season. He spoke to Kristen Ledlow. That's up next.
I would say we're a very competitive team, hard-working team, a gritty team.
As expected.
Right. And we're still trying to, maximize our potential and things like that. But, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to compete, win a lot of games.
This team will look a little bit different this year than it did last year. How did you find out that Katie and Kyrie and DeAndre, who we just saw, were going to be your teammates?
I think I was sitting on my couch, honestly, and I found out the way everybody else did, like on Instagram. Yeah, I heard rumors and everything like that, but I didn't really listen to anything because things come and go. But I kind of found out on Instagram like everybody else.
Well, so what was your response?
I was excited. I was super excited. Playing with those two guys are both NBA champions. Yeah. Guys that are MVP caliber players, guys that I look up to and watch play a lot. So, I can't wait to take the floor with those guys.
Knowing what it took last season to return from an injury, to go through a rehab process, how mentally are you approaching this season healthy?
Honestly, last season was one of the toughest seasons that I've played as a basketball player, but also one of the most rewarding as well. Having a tough injury like that kind of in the middle of the season and then having to kind of rewire my brain and come back in that same season, it was super tough, but I feel like that's behind me now.
Well, maybe good days ahead of the Nets in the future. A lot of unknowns for them. How many wins will they have? We discuss next on the Brooklyn Nets Preview Show.